Hello. In our last video, we solved this problem here, where the robot spun around the edges of a room and completed any missing squares using if statements, completed those missing spots by filling them in with dark squares like you just saw. And the heart of the program that we wrote, let's bring it on the screen, the heart of the program says to complete one wall to the left, we turn left, we check if there's a wall there. So if the front is clear, then there's no wall. So we moved into that region. We checked if the robot was on a dark square. And if the robot was on a dark square, there was nothing to do. But if it wasn't dark, we made it dark. Now, knowing that the robot was on a dark square, we backed up out of that border. The robot is now in the interior of the room, facing the wall, the sort of pseudo wall we've created by darkening the square. At that point, we've backed up and we're good. Otherwise, if the front was not clear, if there was already a wall, well, then the robot's already facing a wall, so we didn't do anything. And then we backed out of the room and we're not in the room. We're not in the wall. So we turn right, and then the rest of our program will move to the next wall piece. So we can actually clean this code up quite a bit. And to do that, I need to teach you a couple things. One is that one shortcut in Java, and you don't really need to know these shortcuts, but this is one that will make your code a whole lot cleaner. If we had to write something like, if the front is clear, then robot move, and otherwise do nothing. When we find ourselves writing an if where there's nothing in the else, then we actually can omit the else. So let's write that. Can omit else when empty. And to do that, we simply get rid of this part here. So in my program, that means if I have this giant if front is clear where I do lots of stuff, but then I have an else do nothing. Now there's nothing wrong with this, and I might find these comments very helpful, but I don't need them. I could actually just say else do nothing like this and eliminate the else altogether, just like you saw me crossing out over there. Next, here I have an if that does nothing. If I'm on dark, do nothing, else make dark. And so I wonder, can I maybe get rid of this part somehow if there's nothing there? And I can't, but there is something nice I can do. And that involves using an operator called the not operator. And actually, I believe it's our first operator. So let me show you what I mean. I can ask Java, let's go back to, we don't have a robot. Okay, we'll fix that. Load up my world again. Sure, it will go zooming around completing the room, which is going to be annoying, but that's okay. Looks like a Roomba, doesn't it? Okay, so here's my robot, and I can ask, is the robot on dark? And Dr. Java will tell me, false, robot is not on dark. But we can also say, is the robot not on dark? So writing an exclamation point means not in Java. In other languages, you might indicate this differently, but in Java, you write an exclamation point and then whatever expression, and you get a new larger expression. So it's as if, let's write it like this. It's as if the not was part of a larger expression, and we sort of fill in a hole in that with some Boolean expression. So we take a Boolean expression and we stick a not around it, we get a larger Boolean expression. So here, not on dark should be true, because the robot is not on dark. And just like robot front is clear now tells me true, so not robot front is clear is false. And yeah, you're going to be tempted to say robot.front is not clear. No, that doesn't work. The not has to be at the very beginning on the left-hand side. So it's true that the program will read a little bit awkward here. What else can we do? Well, we can ask, is the robot, is it not? This is not actually a useful thing to do, but I think it will be illustrative. Not robot front is clear. Well, if robot front is clear is true, and not robot front is clear is false, then not robot front is clear must be, that's right, true. And we can go crazy with this if we really want, but I think we've seen enough of this. But we can use that trick in this program here, because, let's go back to my program, it's not that if the robot's on dark I want to do something, I want to make dark when the robot was not already on dark. When the cell is not dark, I want to make it dark. So by putting a not here, I actually flip what should be in each condition. In fact, let me show you that in my, let's see, here. So over here, when I wrote if robot front is clear, move, else turn left, that's the same as writing if not robot front is clear, turn left, else move. So we can swap what's in the first part with what's in the else part by putting a not in our condition, and that should make sense to us. So same thing here. By writing a not instead, not front is dark, then I can swap these two pieces. Well, there's nothing in the top piece. There's make dark in the bottom piece, and we've swapped them like this. So now it says if the robot's not on dark, make it dark. Otherwise, do nothing. And now I remember that other trick that if the otherwise is to do nothing, well then I don't need it at all. And I don't advise doing this, removing your comments, but I think I'd like to remove the comments so that you can see all of this code at once, and I think it won't be so scary when you can see it all at once. So here's what we told our program to do. We turn left. If the front was clear, we moved into that spot. If we're not on dark, we made it dark. Then either way, we back up out of that region, and now we're no longer in that border if we had ever entered it, and we turn right. So I think that's a lot more readable. We might still go back and put the comments if we choose to. Let's explore a little bit more about these things, and I want to show you some ifs and how to simplify them. So let's make some room for ourselves, and we'll write out another if. Let's say purple if. If robot on dark, then move. Otherwise, make dark and move. So one thing I want to point out about this code is it's pretty hard to read what this is going to do. It's pretty hard to see if robot on dark, move, otherwise make dark and move. It's hard to get your head around what exactly that piece of code is going to do, which is a sign that this is not very good code. It's not very readable. We always want to write our code for other humans to read, typically that human being ourselves, because we're the human who reads our code the most often. Okay, how can we make this cleaner? How can we simplify this? Well, notice we always end by moving. And if we always end by moving, that tells us we don't need to put the move in the if. We're moving either way. So moving does not depend on whether the robot was on the dark. So we can make this a little cleaner by writing, let's write out the whole thing. If the robot's on dark, just keep the non-moving parts, and we'll move afterwards, after the if. So we'll just make dark. So this is what it looks like to take the moves and pull them out of the if, since moving does not depend on testing whether we're on dark. Okay, we still want to be careful when we use that trick, but it will come in handy a number of times. What else do we notice here? Well, we notice that this is empty. And when we have an empty condition, we can clean things up sometimes by writing a not. If we write a not, then we can take the two parts and swap them. So make dark is going to move from the else up to the if. Make dark. And now we remember another trick, that when the else is empty, it's optional, and we can omit it. We can get rid of that else. And when we do that, we have something that looks a lot simpler. And in fact, it's so simple that when I read it out loud, you're gonna have a sense of what it does. If the robot's not on dark, we make it dark, and then we move. Robot's not on dark, we make it dark, and then we move. See how much easier that is to understand than if the robot's on dark, move, and otherwise make dark and move. So we'd like to work on trying to simplify our ifs in such a way that they generate more readable code. In our next video, I think we'll take a look at one of the trickier aspects of using an if, and that will probably conclude our segment on ifs. So I'll see you in the next video. I hope this was helpful.